Hi there, this is Brittany Powers, and this is my Module 12 assignment looking at a case study involving copyright issues and technology. So here's what happened. The teachers at St. Regis School have been enjoying the benefits of the school's new computer lab and education software programs. Several teachers get the idea and approach the library media specialist, Mrs. Lynn, requesting that she makes copies of the new software that they can use whenever they want in their classroom. They each want it available for students in their classrooms during center time. Mrs. Lynn is happy to make the copies, and she does so and distributes it to the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade teams. A new teacher to the district named Mrs. Brandon expresses her concerns to the principal, myself, Mr. Sample. She says that she's worried about the legal violations involved with this decision. So next, I address the issue with Mrs. Lynn, and she defends it. She shares that the PTA president, Mrs. Evans, is happy with the cost-effectiveness of this idea and actually helped make the copies herself. She states that it benefits the students and maximizes the donations of parents. I know that this happened at least 4 months into the school year at St. Regis School, and the people involved were myself, Miss Lynn, Mrs. Williams, Mrs. Brandon, all the teachers in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grades, and the PTA officers, specifically Mrs. Evans, the president. The legal issues involved are that when using computer software in schools, you can only use one machine at a time using the program. The number of simultaneous users must not exceed the number of licenses, and a network license may be required for multiple users. So that is an option, but it's not something that we have to my knowledge. The ethical issues are that the PTA and staff members, not all staff members, but at least the library media specialists know that they're breaking the law and they're choosing to do it anyways. The staff has a motivation to serve their students, so that is an important ethical value. The principal also needs to maintain relationships with the community and staff members in order to successfully lead the school. He's going to have to be careful about how he moves forward with this decision to maintain those good relationships. And last, we want our students to have equity with other schools that have larger budgets. Here's my synthesis of this situation. Well-meaning teachers and PTA members who are eager to serve students lose sight of right and wrong. So let's look at our known factors versus our unknown factors. So we know the people who are involved, as I covered in that first slide. What we don't know, however, is how many members of PTA know about this. Are there other teachers now that might start requesting this software for their classrooms too? How much of a mess are we in? We know that this is happening in the computer lab and in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade classrooms at St. Regis School, but I don't know the demographic of this small town. I don't know if the families are low or high income families. I know that the program is a public school program. It's a small school serving K through 8th graders, only 2 teachers per grade level, and 1 library media specialist who manages both the library and now the new computer lab. I'm imagining that she's getting stretched pretty thin, and that might be a motivator for why she doesn't care about the legal issues. I don't know what other programs and subscriptions the school might be paying for that maybe are not as important right now and that teachers might be willing to give up. So here are the stakeholders: students, teachers, families, PTA members, and myself, the principal. We know that students are impacted in a positive way. They get to use the software. Teachers are impacted in a positive way because they get to use the software and they have convenience in managing their classrooms. Families are content knowing their students are getting a quality school program. PTA members are real happy knowing they don't have to fundraise anymore this year and that teachers are getting basically everything they need for free. I, however, am concerned about my school facing legal action and having to pay some very large fines, up to $150,000. The people who were consulted were myself, some of the PTA members, some teachers. However, students and families were not consulted. Next, I will promote the current and future success, well-being of students by applying knowledge and skills necessary for improving management, communication, school school-level governance, technology, and systems to promote and develop data-informed and equitable school resource plans to apply laws, policies, and regulations. So here are my options for doing so. Number 1, I choose not to address the situation any further. I avoid Mrs. Lynn, don't talk to her, turn a blind eye to the situation. Option 2, I actually fire Miss Lynn and the PTA president. I ask them to resign. I give an official warning to all teachers and tell them not to use the copied software anymore. Next, I issue an official statement declaring St. Regis will not tolerate any illegal practices under any circumstances. Sometimes extreme measures must be taken in order to do the right thing. This is the example we must model for the sake of our children. Option 3, I call an emergency meeting with all staff and PTA members. Train everyone on copyright laws and the consequences for violating them. I explain to teachers that while it's okay to make copies of the software, we can't use them all at the same time. And I ask that all teachers refrain from using the copy material for the rest of the year. I propose that purchasing a network license for next year be placed on the top of our priority list. But in the meantime, I ask that PTA help gather parent volunteers to take small groups of students to the computer lab each day and library each day during learning centers in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade classrooms. The last option is similar in that I call that emergency meeting with staff and PTA members, train them on all the same things, and then I work with the teachers to try to eliminate some less important expenditures. And then we take that money and ask the PTA to hold one more fundraiser this year, combine those two funds to purchase a network license this year. We can do a fundraiser that is like a community dinner, and it would give students an opportunity to showcase some of their work from the year and some of their talents. Again, teachers will not be allowed to use the copied software for the remainder of the year. Next, I'll demonstrate my ability to apply knowledge, skills, and commitments necessary to improve management, communication, technology, school-level governance, and operation systems to develop and improve data-informed and equitable school resource plans and to apply laws, policies, and regulations. I'll do this by evaluating my options. The first option, students get to use the resources, teachers have convenience, and everyone's happy, except for Mrs. Brandon. She's going to see that honesty is not a value of mine. She might report me to my superintendent and, even worse, the education software company directly. I could be reprimanded, and our school could be forced to pay expensive legal fines. Option 2, I ensure that everyone's following the law. We don't have to pay any expensive fines, and some people in the community might like my strong hand. However, I would likely damage relationships with staff members and PTA members because they would view me as callous and impersonal. Students and teachers would lose access to that education software when they need it at times, and I'll have to hire a new library media specialist and PTA president. Option 3, I promote academic success and personal well-being of my students and adults, promote collaboration, I'm supporting learning and development, I'm creating positive working conditions, properly managing the resources and operations of the school, and I'm strengthening my own leadership by making good decisions in a difficult time. The cons, however, are that teachers and students won't be able to use the software in their rooms, and the PTA president and Mrs. Lynn might be mad at me. Option 4, I would promote collaborative effort among key stakeholders. I would support every student and adult in their learning and development, and I would support teachers through positive work conditions, allocating resources, constructing appropriate policies and systems, and managing the resources and operations of the school. The cons, though, are that the PTA president, Mrs. Lynn, would still be upset with me, the community might feel exhausted by another fundraiser, and for a time, the students would not be able to use the software in their classrooms, and teachers would still have to give up whatever education resource that they deemed least necessary. So next, I choose the best option, which I believe is option number 3. I would consult all teachers and PTA members beforehand. Since it doesn't affect the community members or parents, there would be no need to communicate with them. And then the same thing with students. However, if they did have a concern, they could talk to their teacher directly about that. Next, I'll reflectively evaluate, communicate about, and implement laws, rights, and policies, regulations to promote student well-being and adult success. So I would implement the decision by holding the meeting. I would support PTA and teachers as they work to gather those volunteers. I would place network license on the top of next year's priority list, ensure that teachers don't continue using that copied software. I would thank Mrs. Lynn and Mrs. Spencer for serving the school with their whole heart, and I would check in on teachers and make sure they understand my intentions and feel cared for and supported. I anticipate that some teachers might feel a little annoyed by this extra work and not getting exactly what they want, but I do think teachers would feel supported by the plan to utilize parent volunteers. The school and PTA will have a better understanding of copyright laws in the future to move forward ethically, and they would see that I uphold these kinds of things. If there is an issue, my plan B would be to add a fundraiser to the end of the year. If they just feel like they absolutely need that software in their classroom, then we'll do another fundraiser and work our tails off to get that in motion and in their hands. I would not imagine that this would happen, but I would keep it in my mind just in case. Here's my reference slide, and I thank you so much for watching. I've really enjoyed this class and I've learned so much.